Hi, everyone. It's hard to believe that there's only like 10 days or 12 days left to the semester. You've been working really hard. You're almost on Unit 3. And I wanted to take this time to go over a few things that are very important as we wrap up the semester. The first one is just to look at what's due in Blackboard. So, one thing is your discussion board. The first post was due the 17th, which was yesterday. Your next four posts are due the 19th, which is tomorrow. I'm going to come back to the optional progress report. Your reflection is due the 21st. I want to remind you, you cannot do well on these things if you do not engage in the material in Blackboard. This optional progress report, it's optional. You do not get a grade for it, but you get substantial feedback. The purpose of the optional progress report is to submit a draft of what you have so far for your project. It does not need to be perfect. It does not need to be complete. It just gives you a chance to get feedback before you submit it for a grade. The reason this is critical is your project is worth almost 1/3 of your grade for this class. So it's very important that you do that. It's actually, I think, a little bit more than 1/3 of your grade. So make sure you consider seriously submitting a draft of what you have. You'll get feedback on it, on how to improve it. You'll get feedback on it and what's going well. And that feedback, again, is very critical because it is so many points to your final grade. So that's Unit 3. Unit 4 is special projects. Let's see if I can move this over a little bit. Nope. So all of Unit 4 is spent learning about everything everyone else in your group has been working on all semester. So everyone, rather than teaching this as a disease every day, a new disease, I teach it focused on health and wellness of women. And the disease aspect is all covered in the last unit where you share what you've learned about your disease and the social determinants of health. So that's what happens in Unit 4. So let's look at the due dates for Unit 4. So the 21st is when I ask you to submit that draft. You get them back very quickly because you have to post them by 9 p.m. on the 23rd to the discussion board. Your projects are posted to the discussion board, not to an assignment folder. You're going to post two things, the 1.5 page summary of the questions you need to answer, and then your project. The reason why you submit them by 9 p.m. is that night I start going in to look at them, and I look to make sure things work. So if you did a PowerPoint presentation, I make sure the audio file works. If you did a podcast, I make sure the podcast audio files work. If you did a brochure, I make sure that the links open up correctly. If you do social media, I click on whatever's there to make sure that it opens correctly for your peers to review it. As soon as I'm done looking at everything there, I send out an email letting you know you can begin to review your peers' projects. If you submit later than this day and time, I do not go back in to check. It just is what it is. If something's wrong, then it just is wrong. On the 24th by noon, hopefully sooner than the 24th by noon, you'll be able to start reviewing your peers' projects. Everybody works really hard on the project, so you are expected to review everyone in your discussion board. And then by the 27th, you will submit your peer and self scores. You will also post questions to 4 people in your discussion board. By the 29th, you have to answer at least 2 of the questions asked of you. This is the first time all semester you're doing that, but for the final project, you do have to do that. By the 29th, if you want to do extra credit is open so you can see what it is. And if you want to do it, feel free. I think there's 3 options. You can only do one. And on the 30th, the reflection is open from 12 o'clock in the morning to 5 p.m. at night. If that doesn't work for you, let me know, and I will change the time that it's due. So let's go back and look at, here it says Submit your presentation in the discussion board, and there'll be 2 discussion boards, one for group 1, one for group 2. Here on the 29th, this should say, and I will change it. I'll do it right now. On the 29th, you'll submit your peer and self-evaluation tools. I'm going to look at the peer and self tools first. If it's obvious that you really haven't watched something and you're just giving out grades, you do lose points. And it's obvious because, say, for example, everybody in the class says something's missing and you say it's there and give it a good score. You clearly didn't watch it or review it. So that you'll do your score for yourself. And then there'll be enough sheets here for you to score everybody in your discussion board. Okay. Then here is the teacher one. So you give yourself up to 5 points, your peers give you up to 5 points, and I score you on 60 points. And this is where it says right here, this is a very important statement also. I'll highlight it and then unhighlight it. It says, if your project is not created for your approved population, you will lose 10 points. Excuse me, and that's more than one whole letter grade. So the point of this project is not for you to write a report or do something for us. The point of the project is for you to take what you have learned and create something that you could actually give to a group of people. So for example, if you did a slide presentation, it has to be to your population. If you do a brochure, it has to be to your population. A podcast must be to your population. It should not be about your population written to us. And so that's very important that you do that. The terminology used is going to be different. The way you say things will be different. Your graphics will be different. So it's very important that you keep in mind your population as you are developing this project at the end of the semester. And that's here what you will grade. Your evaluation forms are submitted here. Your peer and self-evaluation forms are submitted in Blackboard here, not in the discussion board, because you don't need to have everybody see what you write. I'm the only one that needs to see what you write. And then I compile everything and give it to you without names, identifying who said what. The extra credit is here. There are 3 different assignments. The points assigned to them are based on how long it will take you. One is about Henrietta Lacks. One is about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And the third one is about using non-peer-reviewed material and critiquing it. So you can choose any of those 3. The points are different based on how much time it will take you to do each one. You can only do one. Hopefully all of this information helps you think through how you're going to wrap up the semester. Again, you've worked very hard, and ideally I want you to get the most points possible for the final project. Make sure you pay attention to the feedback you've gotten all semester. Try to submit a draft of your project by the 21st so you can get feedback before you submit the final project. And please reach out if you have any questions. Have a great weekend, everyone.